is really one of the keys to my success, is that I read something educational or instructional every single day of my life. It's the first thing that I do. It's one of my morning, routines. I drink my coffee while I'm reading something. And Charlene, I will go without food before I will go without my reading. Reading is more nurturing.
Hello, and welcome to When the Moment Chooses You. I am extremely honored today to have a wonderful guest on my show, and her name is Renee Thompson. And Renee, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Charlene. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so I'm going to read your bio because I just thought your bio was so powerful, and we've experienced some of your work as well. So I just want to talk about your greatness a little bit, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
So Dr. Renee Thompson is the CEO and founder of the Healthy Workforce Institute and works with healthcare organizations to cultivate a professional workforce by addressing bullying and incivility. Renee has authored several books, including Do Not Harm, applies to nurses too, and Enough, Eradicate Bullying and Incivility in Healthcare, Strategies for Frontline Leaders. She is one of only 26 nurses in the world who have achieved the prestigious certification of Speaking Professional designation, and in 2018 was recognized as one of LinkedIn's top 10 voices in healthcare for her contribution to the global online healthcare community. And in 2022, she was recognized as one of the top 5 nurse influencers on LinkedIn. Renee and her team are on a mission to create a world where bullying and incivility are immediately rejected and kindness, respect, and professionalism becomes the norm. Oh my God. Welcome, Renee. And I'm so excited. Yes. I'm so excited to have you here. So I'll just give you a little bit of background of why I decided to do this podcast, because I really believe that there's moments in our life that call us into them. And so I'd love to unpack those types of stories on this show. And this month in particular, for September, I was really thinking about nursing. That was on my heart. I mean, a lot of my caregivers and healthcare professionals are burnt out. They're exhausted. They're drained. They're trying to find their way. So I love to inspire people. So my hope is that we'll be able to inspire other people or nurses to either sustain themselves or to find something different, or whatever it is, looks like. So tell me, Renee, how did it all start for you? Because you're a nurse, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell me how your journey started and how did it envelop into this brilliant incivility master?
Yes. Oh, I like that. Incivility master. Okay. Well, yes, I've been a nurse for about 31 years now. And Charlene, I've done everything you can do as a nurse. I mean, bedside, I was cardiac step down, neurosurgical step down. I worked for a home care company. So I went into people's homes. I worked for a managed care company. Yes, managed care. I was a quality manager. I was a frontline leader. I was an educator. I was an executive. And it was about 11 years ago, I realized that it didn't matter what organization I worked for or what role I had. I swear there was always a group of others, especially nurses, who made it their mission to make my life difficult. And I just thought, wouldn't you agree working in healthcare is hard enough without worrying about the people you're working with making it harder? And Charlene, you know this. We've been talking about bullying and incivility for, I swear, a century now. But yet, what are we doing about it? It's getting worse and worse. And I decided enough was enough. And it was in a moment. I said, that's it. I'm doing something about this. This whole nurses eat their young. It doesn't have to be that way. And I decided I was going to do something about it. So I quit a really great job that I loved to start my own company. And 11 years later, we are actually the Healthy Workforce Institute. We are the only company in the world dedicated to eradicating bullying and incivility in healthcare alone. We don't go outside of healthcare. We don't have to. We're plenty busy right here.
Yes. Yes, we are. Wow, that's really powerful. So that wasn't really a passion before a moment happened and then you responded to it. You disrupted what you were doing because you said you had a great job.
Loved the work that I did. I was responsible for professional development across the system. So I worked with a lot of new nurses, student nurses, preceptors. I built a new nurse residency program back in the day before we had these, robust ones. We looked at certification and advanced degrees, and I loved all of that. But that nasty behavior, the zinging, the throwing people under the bus, being hard on new people, it kept coming up and coming up.
Yes.
And then after a while, I started to see the patterns. And that's when I thought, enough, I'm going to do something. Mm-hmm.
That is wonderful. So over the last 2.5 years, and actually, this has been going on before the 2.5 years with burnout and all of the different things that we're experiencing now. But in particular, Renee, because I know the data has increased with bullying and incivility over the last 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. So talk to us a little bit about that. What have you seen happen?
Bullying and incivility and just if you just want to collectively call them disruptive behaviors, they've been there. They've been there for a long time. But this is what I know. And when I say this, you're going to say, oh my gosh, yes, this is true. When people are burned out and stressed out, they lash out. And who do they lash out to? Hopefully not the patients. No, they normally lash out to the people standing next to them. And bullying and incivility have always been there. But when COVID happened, we actually did see some teams really pull together and then other teams fell apart. And all it did was, because of the added stress, it took those departments, those teams of healthcare, professionals who were getting by with maybe a little bit of bad behavior here and there. It took them and it exploded them. So now we're seeing more and more disruptive behaviors, and so many leaders, because I work mostly right now with the leaders, and they said, even my good nurses are misbehaving now. And so it heightened and exaggerated an existing problem that we were able to keep and manage. Now yes. It's out there. It's out of the box. And we're seeing it every single day.
Wow. So that means that you're pretty busy.
Yes, we are. And we're growing, So we've done a lot of things, because this company was really just me at first. And then I was over capacity. So we started adding, we have 3 other consultants who help do this work. We have an online academy, as you know, and we're growing even more to accommodate the people who need our help, because our methods work. We've been able to transform cultures and address disruptive behaviors in a way that helps bring the team together. And, yes, I am a bullying and incivility expert, but what we're really about is what you said in my bio. We want to cultivate a culture where bullying and incivility are immediately rejected. Like, whoa, we don't do that here. Kindness, respect, professionalism are now the norm. And that's what we're really about.
Yeah, and that's definitely what we've experienced, because you've been really a great asset, a great add to our team in particular. So tell me a little bit more, Renee, about how you got the concept to start the business. Like, was that did you know how to start a business?
No, I had no idea. And it was funny because at the time I had my master's in nursing education, and I really consider myself an educator. And I would love getting in front of groups of nurses or, support staff and teaching, different clinical concepts. I taught certification review courses for a while, and I love helping to take something that's very complex and simplify it. And I found myself in front of more and more audiences, and I would get this feedback like, you're the best speaker I ever heard. Are you a professional speaker? And I'm like, no, I just get on stage and I talk. And I started speaking nationally, and again, getting a lot of positive feedback. And so when I decided that I wanted to do something about bullying, I decided, I'll be a speaker. And I remember saying this to myself, other people do it. They can make a living off of it. Why not me? And I've always been a risk taker, Charlene. That is the one thing. I've always been a risk taker. So I took a risk and I just started looking for opportunities to speak. And I remember my first year, my goal was to have one paid speaking engagement. Didn't matter how much. It could have been $10. I didn't care. Just one. And that happened. And, it grew from there. And the one thing that I love about human beings is that there was always someone who was willing to give me advice. There was always another nurse business owner. Like I belong to the National Nurses and Business Association, and there are some amazing, and I'm on their advisory board. There are always other really great nurses who want to help mentor and support and nurture other nurses who want to do whatever it is they're doing. So I remember I started working in neuro, and there was one of the, neurosurgery, and I had never worked neuro before, but yet there was a nurse that I gravitated to in that department who took me under her wing. When I was a cardiac nurse, someone who took me under their wing. We are out there. You got to find someone who's going to take you under their wing and help you. And that's how I grew this business too, by having other people support me. And now it's really nice because I'm on the reverse. I'm taking other people under my wing and helping them succeed in whatever it is that they want to do.
That's beautiful. So was it easy, Renee? How has it been for you? Any barriers, internal, external barriers? Has it been easy for Miss Renee?
It's so funny you asked that question. The short answer is no. It's been one of the hardest things I've ever done because I know how to be a nurse. I'm a good nurse. To run a business, that's altogether different. And Charlene, I'm still learning. I am a voracious learner. And it's funny, people will ask me all the time, how do you know all of this about addressing bullying and incivility and the system that I developed to address it? And, we have a whole year-long program. And they said, did you go to was there a certification? Did you go to a program to learn this? And I said, no, I've studied human behavior my whole life. I read every single day. And I've applied that same sort of strategy to running a business. I do not get ready in the morning, put some makeup on and do my hair without listening to a podcast. And I listen to podcasts, and that's why I love being a guest on people's podcasts, because I have greatly benefited from other people who share their strategies and insights through podcasts. I watch videos, I read books on business. So I am constantly learning, but it is a challenge. It's every now and then I think to myself, think about this, Charlene. My whole life is dealing with bad behavior.
Yeah.
Every day I'm talking to someone else about someone else's bad behavior. And there are days I remember last year I said to my husband, can we retire? If I wanted to quit right now, can we retire? And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, I just need to know that because this is such a heavy burden. But then, you say a little prayer. And then I realized and reminded myself, if this work was easy, other people would be doing it.
Right.
This is my mission. This is what I'm meant to do. And this is my purpose. And so you just, you have a rough day and you brush yourself off and say, okay, what can I do tomorrow? And, you just one step at a time. And know that you're going to make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. I'm like, oops, we just sent something to a new client with the wrong client name on it. And I didn't do it. It was somebody on my team who did it. But I'm like, thanks. And I could beat myself up about it. But you know what? It happens. So, whoops, we apologize. Here's the correction. It happens, and just give yourself some grace when it does.
Yes, that's great. So how do you, because you've made a really good point, because people that are caught to deal with bad behavior and things like that, or a lot of counseling, especially right now. Right. What do you do to refuel yourself?
Yes. Well, I have 2 beautiful grandbabies. They're the cutest things. And we'll be, so we made a commitment to my daughter because we live in Tampa, Florida. Our daughter lives in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we commit to seeing our grandbaby. So we travel there about once every 6 weeks, and we'll be heading there this weekend for Labor Day. It's our grandson. He's going to be 1 year old. So that's my happy place. Also, because we moved to Tampa, it'll be 4 years in January. Every Sunday that I'm home, we go to the beach. Every Sunday. And Charlene, that's the only place where I don't think about work. It is my total reset. I just listen to the ocean and I walk the beach and I feel the sand on my feet and, you know, the water rushing against my feet. And that is my happy place. That helps me to just reset. And we all have that. Sometimes we don't pay attention to it, but it's there. You know, where is the space? What do you do that you don't think about anything else? And to do that deliberately, to engage in that deliberately. So I know when I'm in town, Sundays, beach, period.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. So what would you say, Renee, then with, what's going on now with our nurses, our healthcare workers? I mean, we've been through a lot over the last 2.5 years in particular. What type of advice would you give a nurse that really is at the breaking point? They're burnt out and they're not quite sure what to do.
Yes. There's not any one, just do these 3 things and everything will be better. But there are some things that are important. I always say, first of all, remember why you became a nurse in the first place. Was it to make money? Was it to have a flexible schedule? Was it to do the least amount of work possible for the most amount of money? None of us, well, I would say the majority of us, we don't choose nursing for the perks. Although I like to have some perks and we should have some perks, but that's not the reason. So why did you choose to become a nurse in the first place? And you've got to have something to remind you of that. I remember when I became a nurse, you know, I loved the human body. I was fascinated by it. So I love science. So there's that left brain in me that I love it. But I also wanted to have a career where I can make a difference in the lives of other people, because that brings me joy when I know that I've helped someone. And that keeps me going even with this work that I'm doing now. And I used to carry a picture of my girls with me. And when things would get tough, I would pull that picture out and just remind myself that they were worth it. So you've got to know your why, and you have to have a reason, like a reminder of your why. And I think that helps. However, there was a report that came out, McKinsey report a couple of weeks ago, that basically said we've got burnout wrong. And the strategies we're using right now for burnout, we're getting it all wrong. The number one cause of burnout and intention to leave is dealing with toxic workplace behaviors. So while self-care is important, you know that, you know, if you come into work every day and you have to deal with a bully every day you come into work, that's going to be an extreme stressor on you, which adds to burnout, which adds to you feeling like you can't do this anymore. And it may make you question whether or not you have what it takes to continue being a nurse. So we have to address that. And really, Charlene, what I would say is there are good people out there. There are good departments. There are good leaders. There are good nurses. They're not all bullies. Okay, there are actually more of us goodies out there than baddies.
Yes.
Find them. Surround yourself with them. We tend to focus so much on the negative and just we deal with that negative person. We sit in the break room and listen to them spew their venom the whole time. Get up and walk away. Deliberately seek the comfort and the support from the people who are positive, that have hope, and who want to go out of their way to support you. They're there. Just you have to find them.
They're there. I like how you said that, because I know, I mean, that's how I've guarded myself, quite honestly, over the long years, is I almost feel like when I go to work, I put a shield on. Right. I put a shield on because I don't want the negativity getting into my force field, you know, my positivity, and to maintain my peace and my joy and all of that. I have to put that shield up, because it's very easy to get sucked into drama.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's
yes, you are so right. It's easy. And that's why you have to back away from it like a ninja warrior, like, whoa, whoa.
Yes.
Have your armor on to protect yourself from it.
Absolutely. So what would you say to organizations that are experiencing this big problem of bullying and incivility?
Yes, here's the deal. You have to stop justifying someone's bad behavior just because of how good they are at their job, how much revenue they're bringing into the organization. You're afraid they're going to quit and you're already short staffed. So we allow them to continue behaving that way because people say, well, a bad nurse is better than no nurse. A bad physician is better than no physician. I veto that, okay? Because you're just setting the stage for disruptive behaviors to be tolerated. And then what's going to happen is you're going to lose your good people. So you have to stop justifying bad behavior because, fill in the blank, you have to equip your leaders with the skills and tools that they need to address disruptive behaviors. Nobody teaches them how to do this. And you know what?
Right.
If a leader isn't trained on how to confront, set behavioral expectations, hold their employees accountable, they handle conflict and all those bad behaviors typically the way they handle them at home or the way they handle them, what they saw growing up as kids. Ooh, that's not always a good strategy. And then you have to empower your people. You can't just be the leaders. You have to empower the entire healthcare team and get them involved in culture change. And it can't just be, bring somebody in and do a workshop and check a checkbox. It doesn't work.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. I remember talking to you a while back, and I got so inspired by your journey because I'm always fascinated with, like, you were a nurse from the core,
right?
But then there was this other thing pulling you to it. And I'm extremely fascinated with that when people actually take the risk.
Yep.
To do what's in their heart to do. So tell me a little bit about that comfort zone.
Yes. It's easier for me to take a look back and see what I've done versus when I was in that moment. But I've always been curious. I've always had this, sense of, I want to learn that. As I said, I'm a voracious reader, voracious learner. And honestly, I get bored very easily. So if I was in a role and I mastered everything, and maybe I was maybe not necessarily bored because there's always something to learn, I would just get curious about other opportunities. And I remember saying to myself, you know what, I'm going to try it. If I don't like it, at least I'll learn something and I can always come back. And that's what I love about nursing. There's so many different things that you can do. Because I remember I heard about home care and that was a big deal. And working as a home care nurse, I remember I was one of 100 applicants. And every single week I'd call, hey, just checking on that position. Hey, just checking on that position. And it was the administrator who ended up saying, every time you call, I'd put your file on top of the pile. And then the person who ended up hiring me said she kept seeing my name. And she says, all right, this person really wants this job, so I'll interview her. And I did really well there. Even when I took an executive role, I was scared to death. I thought, I don't even know that I can do this. But you know what, Charlene? You have to look at your past sort of patterns of success. I had always found a way to be successful in any other role that I had. So what makes me think I wouldn't be successful in this role? As long as I, don't act like I know everything, admit that I don't, and learn. And so I remember when I had the opportunity to quit my job, I actually was contacted by a headhunter. They wanted me to take an interim leadership role. I was an interim educator, went to Washington, D.C. It was supposed to be for 4 months. They kept me there for 9. And that was when I was, starting my business. And I remember having those conversations, with my husband about, what am I, nuts? Quitting a really good job to work for 4 months. And we both agreed that it was not going to be easy because I was in Washington, D.C. I lived in Pittsburgh at the time. But that, what an opportunity. And if it didn't work out, I could always go back. I always made sure that I had built really great relationships. It's just who I am. I wasn't, manipulative. I always had good relationships with the people I worked with. And I thought I could go back. And I thought, you know what? Anything that's worth something really magical, amazing, is worth taking a risk for. And I'm glad I did. Because, 11 years later, here I am.
No regrets.
No regrets. Well, there were some regrets along the way, but
I'm sure. Well, my last question, Renee, I always ask the guests, it'll be Renee's top 3 things that you would do if, even if there's a calling on your life or whatever Renee's top 3 is. That's what I want to hear. I'm going to just leave it open so you can just flow.
So my top 3, and people will ask me sometimes okay, what's the key to your success? Top 3 is, first of all, I am a woman of faith. And when I'm really struggling with something, I will go to bed and I'll pray on it. And I tend to wake up with the right answer. Okay. Maybe not always, but it really helps me. So I'm a woman of faith and I let that drive me in a lot of the decisions that I make. I mentioned this before, but it is really one of the keys to my success is that I read something educational or instructional every single day of my life. It's the first thing that I do. It's one of my morning, routines. I drink my coffee while I'm reading something. And Charlene, I will go without food before I will go without my reading. Reading is more nurturing. And I go out of my way to build relationships with people. It's not just transactional. I really try to, my people on my team, we build relationships with them. My clients, build relationships with them, because everything when you think about human beings, we are social creatures. And it's about building a connection with someone else that it truly is the key to not only, personal success, but to really help somebody else be successful too. So I pray, I let my faith drive the decisions that I make. I learn and grow every day, and I build relationships with people.
Oh, that's wonderful. Those are powerful top 3.
Yes.
And then any additional information that you would like to tell the audience just to encourage them?
Yes. Being a nurse is not easy. It doesn't matter what you do. I thought when I became an educator, that'd be so much easier than being a bedside nurse. When I started working home care, that would be so much easier than working in the hospital. When I became an executive and I had a nice office, I could just sit around or, educator and, build PowerPoints all day long. That's not what they do. Okay. Being a nurse isn't easy, no matter what role you have. There's always stressors. However, it's so worth what we have to endure, because there's nothing better than making that positive difference in the life of another human being at the time when they're suffering the most. And just to be there, knowing that you may forget who some of these patients are, but if you make a connection with that patient and you help them, they will never forget who you are. They will never forget you. And, that's how you leave a legacy. And I'll give you a bonus one, especially those of you who are listening who are experienced nurses. Talking about leaving a legacy, I want you to help this next generation of nurses become better than you ever were. That's how we leave a legacy. Take them under your wing. Teach them how to be an amazing nurse. We all know it's not just the knowledge, it's the experience and the intuition and all of those things. So yeah, we need to support this next generation of nurses.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. That's wonderful wisdom. And then Renee, how can people get in touch with you if they wanted to hire you for their organization or their team. I definitely can vouch for Renee. We have done some work with Renee and have seen some significant, definitely change in behavior.
Yes, thank you, Charlene. Thank you for asking. Well, you can just hop on over to my website. It's healthyworkforceinstitute.com. And as you mentioned in my bio, well, it's my bio, so I know it's there. I am very involved in LinkedIn, and a lot of people find me on LinkedIn too. But yeah, just go to my website. Again, it's healthyworkforceinstitute.com, where we have a ton of free resources for people, and all of my social media platforms are on there, my YouTube video series. And so, yeah, just hop on over.
She has like awesome videos. Like if you want to use them in a staff meeting or something like that to get the conversation started, it's really profound and powerful. And we've seen really, just great transformation just with your videos, Renee. So thank you so much for all your contribution to our world of healthcare. I know that I've been impacted by you. You have inspired me to do a lot of different things. And I really appreciate you for all of the work that you do.
Thank you, Charlene. It is truly an honor working with amazing nurses like you who are truly committed to, making healthcare a better place. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.